Even though the Starks outnumbered the Lannisters 4-1 in San Francisco last night, no blood was spilled. The carpet was just red for HBO's Game of Thrones Season 3 premiere, and we were on the scene to get the Westeros scoop from Kit Harington, Nikolai Coster-Waldau, Maisie Williams, George R.R. Martin, and more. We're here at HBO's Season 3 premiere of Game of Thrones in San Francisco. Winter is coming and the stars are coming, and we're going to check in with them about the chaos that's going down in Westeros.
I'm big fans of Pop Sugar!
So there are plenty of heartthrobs vying for the Iron Throne, but we want to know who is Westeros's sexiest man alive.
I'm going to make myself blush now.
But that's like rating my fellow actors, like who do I think is the fittest?
I think Tyrion's pretty damn sexy.
Draco. I mean, the second dragon, he is a sexy dragon.
The White Walkers, they're pretty fit.
I've got a complete man crush on Richard Madden.
Gendry, Joe Dempsey. That's really embarrassing. I've never said that, and you made me say it.
If you were a gay guy, you might say Loras Tyrell was the sexiest man alive. If you were a straight woman, well, again, you might say Loras Tyrell.
With me having strong family values, I find family values very sexy. So somebody like Robb Stark is the man who gets me hot under the collar. I'm going red just thinking about it.
Nothing to do with like the flowing curly locks or...
Flowing curly locks? See, I didn't know anything about flowing curly locks. I've barely noticed. Too busy thinking about how much he loves his mother to notice his flowing curly locks.
So Kit, there's also a big love scene that's coming up for you.
I have no idea what scene you're talking about. John would never break his Night's Watch vows.
Oh.
He's an honourable man, no. I mean, he could get tempted, but no, there's no love scene.
So all those rumors are wrong. There's rumors of a hot tub. I don't know how they have a hot tub beyond the wall.
Nothing. I know nothing, apparently.
Jon Snow knows nothing. Obviously, this is a fantasy series, but it's still rooted in some sort of reality. So we want to know which of the actors is most like their characters in real life.
I'd say Jack is most like Joffrey. No,
Kit Harington. He is a true hero.
Dinklage is pretty close to Tyrion, I reckon.
I think maybe Peter Dinklage is Tyrion.
Tyrion's probably the coolest character in the show, and Peter's probably the coolest man in the Northern Hemisphere.
Peter and Tyrion both share incredible wit.
Peter's a lot like Tyrion in the way that he's super clever, but also he's like the funniest guy you've ever met. Obviously, he doesn't drink as much, though.
Peter hasn't killed anyone as far as I know, however, so...
The Targaryens have dragons and fire and blood. The Lannisters have lions and always pay their debts. So we're going to ask these actors if they could choose their house motto and mascot, what would it be?
It'll be something really, really cheesy, like be yourself. The sigil would probably be, I don't know, I guess it'd be like a ballerina or something, because like they're strong but they're graceful.
Well, I really like turtles, and I think, well, tortoises, okay, right, tortoises, and they've got a hard shell, so our motto would be go hard or go home. That's cool, isn't it?
Harrington family motto is, it's a bit weird, but it's a firm knot. It means hold fast, you know, kind of stay in there.
The motto would probably be, oh, for God's sake. Do you know sometimes when you get an ice lolly and or a popsicle, and you wait too long to eat it and it melts and it falls off the stick? The disappointment that encapsulates would suit, oh, for God's sake, quite perfectly. Although to go into battle with that on a banner, you've lost the banner already psychologically, I think.
Prepare yourselves for more Seven Kingdoms drama when HBO premieres Game of Thrones Season 3 on March 31st. Joining me to talk about all the Seven Kingdoms excitement that went down last night is entertainment reporter Shannon Vestal. So before we start, I have to ask, who gets your vote for Westeros's sexiest man alive?
It has to be Jon Snow. I've loved him over the past couple of seasons, and I can report that he is still looking good in the Season 3 premiere. Plus, I get to see him on the red carpet at Kit Harington, of course, and he's just suited up out of the furs, and he's still looking good.
All right, okay, I think you must like those unattainable men.
I guess so.
Okay, so Game of Thrones always goes big, and last night was no exception.
That's right. The event was held at the Palace of Fine Arts, which is a very dramatic venue in San Francisco. And as you entered, you sort of walked through these castle gate type walls, and you got to see all these scantily clad performers that were very Westerosi, and it gave it a lot of the same tone of the show.
And they actually had the costumes from the premiere that were on display, so you could see like what Dany was wearing and Tyrion, which was really cool.
They did. I loved seeing that stuff. I love seeing those touches. It made you feel like you were really part of it.
And the cast was actually mingling, and during the after party, they were by a roaring fire, and we saw Nikolai was taking pictures with fans. So that's always really fun.
They were, and there was also a big iron throne that you could pose on, and there was a lot of Game of Thrones themed food that was also really cool.
Yeah, apparently there were some dragon eggs being handed out.
There were.
Okay, so the reason we were all there, of course, was for the season 1 or the season 3 premiere.
That's right, and it was really exciting. I don't want to give up too much away because we are going to be breaking down the season premiere in an upcoming episode of The Buzz, but I was not disappointed at all. There were a lot of really cool storylines that we saw. The premiere picks up just a little bit of time after the season 2 finale, so I can't wait to talk about it later.
I know, and it was awesome to see it on the big screen, very cinematic, because the show is, such a production.
It is. It was like seeing a movie because that essentially is kind of what the show is like.
Okay, so afterwards, we were clued into some interesting tidbits because they did a panel with the creators, David Benioff and Dan Weiss, and of course, the writer of the saga, George R.R. Martin.
Right. I was most excited to hear that there was going to be a big, more overt romantic arc this season, and I suspect that it's going to be between Jon Snow and Ygritte. We got to see a little bit of a hint of that in the premiere, and we also got to see some footage from season 3 where a little bit was shown of that.
They were suggesting it, and even though Jon Snow says he knows nothing.
I know, they'll never tell you.
I was really interested in some of the background of how this show got made. George R.R. Martin actually had like a 5-hour lunch with the creators, but when they were first pitching this, and he quizzed them on their Game of Thrones knowledge, and he asked, who is Jon Snow's mother? And they gave the right answer, and now we have the series.
It's nice to know that the creators know so much, and in fact, they also shared that they'd visited with George R.R. Martin at his home in New Mexico, and even though the books aren't finished yet, the creators know how it ends, so that's very reassuring.
I know, but the pressure they must have of like walking around with that knowledge, it's just too much. We're all dying to know, of course, what happens, and we're dying to know what you're going to think about the episode, the first episode.
Stay tuned.
All right, thanks, Shannon.